I've listened to so much crap in the last 2 weeks.
Hey, buddy.
You know, you hear all that crap, but I understood that that crap was going to come with the territory.
Hey, buddy.
But I'll live with the crap.
Buddy.
And I feel very good.
He's a disgruntled Scottish guard known for his lethal temper and his unusual eating habits. He weighs a metric ton. His name, Fat Bastard.
One of the things, Mike, that's been pointed out over the course of today and last night after the game is that you seemed resigned to the fate after the game, that there wasn't much fire in you, and you sort of stood up before the media and said, well, you know, this is the way it is. Are you resigned to this fate?
You're the same guy that wrote about me when I did have the fire, that was the wrong thing to do. So who you crapping?
Well, I'm just asking.
Don't crap me now. No.
Tell me sweet little lies.
Jay Black.
It's that time again. It's Thursday at 5 o'clock. Time for our signature segment. It's been 2 weeks. This is the first one in the new studios, and we ask you to limit this on Who You Crappin' to something specific that someone said, not something that someone did. And we begin in Beverly with 10-foot midget on Who You Crappin' on the score. Midget.
On Tuesday, when St. Louis members of the Tea Party came out to Busch Stadium for the game against Arizona to counter-protest the boycott of D-backs games in light of the controversial Arizona immigration law, Tony La Russa surprisingly led his support to the Teabaggers, saying, quote, "This is America, right? You're supposed to be able to have opinions and disagree. And a lot of things they do, I think, are correct," unquote. I won't take the socio-political angle here since it's not the appropriate forum, but I agree with your assessment that in this country, Tony, it is okay to have opinions and disagree. Like when I disagreed with the idea that the death of your pitcher, John Hancock, should have been treated as what it was, the death of a reckless idiot. And you threatened me and others with a fungo bat and said we were just furthering our agendas. Just like how you said my opinion that Mark McGwire was a freaking science project was wrong and unfounded until McGwire validated my opinion. Would my opinion that you're a slimy, egotistical sack of crotch snot be met with such a warm embrace? Tony La Russa, who you crapping?
Good start. Nicely done. This was sent in by Glenn. And it says it goes out to FIFA President Sepp Blatter. Up until the recent spate of blown calls during the World Cup, Blatter has steadfastly clung to the position that video replay had no place in FIFA matches, even for the most basic and objective rulings. And while some of his arguments may actually have validity, Blatter attempted to justify his stand by saying the following: "Fans love to debate any given incident in a game. It's part of the human nature of our sport." Sepp, you know what the fans of sport love more than debating how their team got screwed? Not having to debate how their team got screwed. The only reason why fans have included questionable or bad officiating into their debates is they have no other choice. Occasional mistakes have been accepted only based on the premise they couldn't be eliminated. If you can eliminate them, why not do so? You attempt to claim that the fans' grudging acceptance of the inevitability of bad officiating is a desire for it because it enhances their post-game discussion. If your premise is true, why not mandate that referees take hallucinogens before every game? Plenty of post-game entertainment for everybody. You claim to oppose replay to preserve the human element. But the place where that element is important is in the quality of the play, not the quality of officiating. What fans want to see is every game decided on its merits. Sepp Blatter, who you crappin'? I just like saying Sepp Blatter. Blatter! Napoleon Dynamite is on the score. Hello, Dynamite.
Hi, Dan. Hi, whoever that other guy is there.
Hello.
By the way, Dan, my Uncle Rico's coming to town this weekend, so do you mind if I spend a couple of weeks at your place?
As long as you bring steak.
I'll make you a dang quesadilla. Anyway, this crap goes up to Dan McNeil, who last week said he likes the charcoal in his grill to be white heat red hot. What the heck are you even talking about? My brother Kip said that a white flame and a red flame give off two different temperatures. So what is it, you retard? So Dan, you chubby, gay, bearded weirdo, learn your temperatures and who you crapping. Okay, bye.
I sound like a dumbass.
Mike in Champaign, you're on the score.
How are you, gentlemen?
I'm fine, Mike. That guy just kills me.
Well, that's good to hear. Well, this soccer ball-shaped crap is also for FIFA chief Joseph Sepp Blatter, which is fun to say. At the 2006 Soccer X conference, Sepp declared that goal line determining technology, akin to the Hawkeye system familiar to Wimbledon viewers, would be ready for use at major soccer events by mid-2007. Fast forward to March 12th of this year. Having actively failed to put goal line systems anywhere, including at this year's World Cup, Blatter bloviated that FIFA was, in fact, not looking to implement goal line technology. He wanted to claim that such systems are, quote, complicated and not accurate, end quote, and that they threaten the universality and very character of soccer. As if the verbal hypocrisy weren't palpable enough, Tuesday saw Blatter again reverse his position in the face of two obvious blown goal line calls in Sunday's World Cup games. Soccer Bud Selig then proclaimed that FIFA would indeed look to implement goal line technology starting next year. In the words of tragically absent soccer Sergei Terry Boers, pick a lane. Sepp Blatter, who you crapping?
Thank you, Mike. Here's one from Sean in Elgin. It goes out to the man-wife of Oprah Winfrey, Stedman Graham, who 2 weeks ago on Fox News Chicago voiced his displeasure over Chicagoans not appreciating Oprah's contributions. I don't think they understand the value of who she is as a human being and what she's done, because a prophet has no honor in its hometown. From an insider's point of view, I don't think she gets the just due based on who she really is and what she's done for the Chicagoland area, he said. He goes on. She's brought a lot of international attention to Chicago with her talk show. Secondly, there's the humanitarian work that she does, like her school in South Africa. I really don't think she's that appreciated. I think they take her for granted a lot. It's natural for people to take it for granted until you leave. Well, where to start? One, if you're going to quote Scripture, do it right. The passage you were referencing was Matthew 13:57. Jesus said to them, a prophet is not without honor except in his own country and in his own house. Two, if she is such a prophet, show me where a prophet builds a media empire to include a TV studio, a magazine, a cable channel, a book of the month club, 2 estates, 3 houses, an apartment, land in Hawaii, and was able to basically put a guy in the White House. 3, instead of a school in Africa, why doesn't she help the local inner city schools in her own backyard? 4, yes, she did bring a lot of international attention, especially when she sat down to dinner with the IOC to convince them that the Olympics would be great for Chicago. How'd that 2016 bid work out? Stedman, you want Chicago to appreciate Oprah? Well, you aren't even married to her. Where's the appreciation in that? Stedman Graham, who you crapping? All right, fine. Unemployed lawyer in Lakeview. Get a job already, lawyer. You're on Who You Crapping on the Score. Hey, buddy.
Hey, how's it going?
Great.
Apple is marketing its new iPhone 4 with the tagline, "This changes everything," again. The iPhone's website calls the product, quote, indispensable, the future, elegant, and the world's most advanced mobile operating system. So how did CEO Steve Jobs dismiss a customer complaining about technical glitches? Quote, it is just a phone. Steve Jobs, who you crapping?
Here's one unsigned that says Mully and Hanley were discussing Billy Beane, and they were commenting on how Billy Beane didn't know about Dallas Braden's perfect game until the final out because he was watching soccer. They said Moneyball, Mr. Moneyball himself watching soccer instead of his own team. Well, if you read the book Moneyball, you'd realize Billy Beane rarely watches a game in person or in the press box. He says he spends most games in the weight room. Billy Beane uses what's called the soapbox derby approach to being a general manager, meaning you build it and you push it down the hill. So what if he likes soccer? He's never been all that interested in a single game. What he does during the game doesn't matter unless he's making a roster move during the game. So read the book before you criticize the guy. Mully and Hanley, who you crapping? And in Evanston, it's Gary on the Score.
Hi, guys. I have read and heard a lot of stupid comments about LeBron James the last few months, but the stupidest had to be on the Booyah Sports Reporters show this past Sunday.
There you go again. You torture yourself.
Yeah, I know, but I get good crap material.
Okay.
This past Sunday, when host Jon Saunders actually said that, quote, let's not forget that LeBron is only 3 years removed from going to the finals and just had 2 back-to-back 60-win seasons. Miami can't offer him that, and neither can Chicago. But, John, the only reason for all that was because LeBron was with Cleveland instead of the Heat or the Bulls. Without LeBron, the Cavs of the past 2 seasons would have been lucky to win 30 games a year. And as LeBron twice led that bunch of sorry stiffs to more than 60 wins, he might have won 70 games last year playing alongside Derrick Rose in Chicago or Dwyane Wade in Miami. Jon Saunders, who are you crapping?
Jay Zawoski of The Score, our hockey insider, is reporting that Adam Burish is a Dallas Star.
Boy, we will miss him, won't we? Adam Burish.
Nice guy.
No, good guy. Good guy. Always there for the cameras, like the cameras. Very much like the cameras.
Well, did I ever tell you the story about him? That when 2 years ago, when the Hawks had a little end-of-year losing skid and they began pulling back on appearances and media stuff because they were having that push-pull about who was responsible, and they wanted, these guys are spread too thin, hockey.
Right.
Burish had a commitment that he had to stop completely. He had a media commitment. And I saw the letter that he wrote. It was an email that he sent so effusively and genuinely apologizing for, he said, it's completely out of my hands. I'm so sorry about this. I know I made a commitment to you. They won't let me do it. I want to do it. I can't. And even if it was self-serving, if he wanted to be out there in the media, that he's a well-raised young man.
Good guy.
To feel the need, because most athletes wouldn't think twice about just saying, well, screw it, whatever.
He's a hockey player. Most hockey players are pretty good guys, and he's a good guy, and from that standpoint, he'll be missed. But as far as hockey goes, not so good at it.
And we forgot about Colin Fraser, too, who also was traded. Edmonton Oilers, I believe, is where he went.
Correct.
Have fun with that.
Yes.
Wow.
Good luck up there. That's going to be fun.
So we can add Adam Burish to the list, and soon John Madden, too, to that list of...
And John Madden, I really will miss. That guy... really served a purpose on the ice and was terrific off the ice this year.
We're in the middle of Who You Crappin', and here is Steve in Bolingbrook to continue on the score. Steve.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
I know this is an old one, but this crap goes out to Magic Johnson. Last week marked the 1-year anniversary of the death of Michael Jackson. I'm not sure why, but I caught myself watching the replay of the memorial service held for him. During that, Magic got up and spoke about the time he was in a Jackson video, and he and Michael sat on the floor and ate KFC, and Magic called it the best day of his life. Let me get this straight. You won an NCAA championship, 5 NBA championships, 3 MVPs, 3 Finals MVPs, 12 All-Star games, 2 All-Star game MVPs, were inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame, and have up to this point of your life beat HIV. Yet eating greasy chicken on the floor with Jacko is the greatest day of your life. Magic Johnson, who you crapping?
That sounds a little racist, but we'll go with that.
That's what we're doing. Not sounding a little racist, but yeah, I guess sometimes we are, so that's probably true, but we're in the middle of Who You Crappin'. We got an open line if you want to jump on in. 312-644-6767. We wanted it to be good, and so far it is. So keep it going, Boers and Bernstein. We got more Sox tickets to give away between now and 6 as well on WSCR, The Score. We are right in the middle of Who You Crappin'. 312-644-6767 is the number. If you want to jump on and grab one of the final slots, we asked for it to be better, and so far it has been, and we thank you for that. But we still need the big close that we always ask for to finish with a flourish. It's Claude in Wilmette on WSCR.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Claude.
This crap goes out to Jim Hendry, who, when asked about Carlos Zambrano's contract extension in '07, replied, there was nothing wrong with the investment. Say what? You had 5 years to observe the fact that this Looney Tunes goon was far from the ideal investment or teammate. Jim, if you had half a brain, well, you'd have half a brain. Jim Hendry, who you crapping?
Thank you, Claude. Always short and to the point. Red Wing Tom says this goes out to Stephen A. Smith. In mid-June, Smith said, my sources tell me that LeBron is leaning toward the Knicks. 2 weeks later, on June 28th, he said of his sources, they told me essentially that LeBron James and Chris Bosh are going to tag team and go together to join Dwyane Wade in Miami. Pointing out the contradiction in these statements is too easy. Instead, I'd like to point out that in both cases, they're showing that the Booyah's answer to the Vuvuzela is reporting about as much fact as I could from finding murmuring derelicts on Randolph, which in fact may be Smith's sources. First, there seems to be little evidence in the three free agents' actions that this is their plan. We're already hours into free agency, and so far no deals that were as good as done have been announced. Even what the three say to the press, specifically Bosch, seems to indicate that this is not and never was their plan. Second, if Smith would care to look at the numbers, something a good report should do, he'd find that the Wade-James-Bosch combo in Miami is highly unlikely financially. If Wade were to re-sign with Miami, they could afford one more max contract, and James, they'd have about half of a max contract left over for Bosch. You think any one of these guys is going to take a back seat financially to meet up in South Beach? Can you see LeBron and Wade lowering their salaries to get Bosch on Miami while players like Nowitzki get max deals? You think LeBron wants to follow Wade to Miami? Something tells me he doesn't want to tag along on someone else's ride. He wants to be the driver. Stephen, before bellowing out any rumor you hear on the airwaves, dig a little deeper, find out if it makes sense. Then ask yourself, who you crapping?
That's well done.
In Geneva, it's John next on the score. Hi, John.
Guys, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, this crap goes out to Dwyane Wade, Miami Heat forward. Back in May, Dwyane was quoted when commenting on the Bulls organization, and he said, quote, "I think the biggest question that you think about has to be loyalty."
Gotta have the faith.
Close quote. Now, he was talking about the Bulls, how the Bulls treated Jordan and Pippen after the Bulls championship seasons in the 90s. Well, the Bulls set up Pippen pretty nicely when sign and trade to Houston, and from what I believe or what I remember, Jordan didn't want anything to do with the Bulls organization because of Jerry Krause. That set aside, so the question of loyalty, Dwyane, at 12 a.m. yesterday, you decided to opt out of the final 2 years of your contract with the Heat. Sure, it was probably the right financial decision, but was it the loyal one? Loyalty is a two-way street. Dwyane Wade, who you crapping?
Thank you, John. Here's one from Brian in Des Plaines, who says this goes out to former Chicago Police Commander Jon Burge, who was on trial for perjuring himself, or was, with regard to the systematic torture of criminal suspects at Area 2 in the 70s and 80s. On Monday, prosecutors asked Burge why he named his boat the Vigilante. Burge claimed he picked the name from a computer-generated list because, quote, it was the only one I never heard before. Jon Burge, you can make a suspect go along with your story when you're suffocating them with a typewriter cover. But you expect a jury to believe that you naming your boat the Vigilante had nothing to do with you considering yourself a vigilante? Jon Burge, who you crappin'? One from Mark in Carpentersville, who says this goes out to Kevin Millar, who told MLB Network that after having a conversation with Carlos Zambrano following Z's meltdown in the dugout, he believed Zambrano was, quote, only trying to pump all the guys up, unquote. Right, Kevin, and I believe that Larry Holmes was only trying to pump up his idol Muhammad Ali for his comeback at age 38 in 1980 by pummeling the snot out of him, and that Tanya Harding was only trying to pump up the rest of her U.S. figure skating teammates by having Jeff Gillooly hire someone to break Nancy Kerrigan's knee because she didn't feel the team was showing enough emotion heading into the 94 Olympics. Get real. Kevin Millar, who you crappin'? And it is time to check Terry's manometer. He left it. And I'm glad he did because the pressure is building.
I'm not touching it,
you
by
shouldn't.
the way.
No, it's gross. And
Yeah.
we could wipe it down with Purell all day.
No,
and even so, I suggest
leave
staying
it right
away
where
from
it is. Leave it right there. I'm not getting near it.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. And the manometer was last seen being carried around by Manchester United. And the pressure, while great, with this first ever edition of Who Ya Crappin' from the news studios, will be borne out by none other than a man who frightens me every time we bring him on these airwaves. He's odd, and he's angry, and he's in his car. He's Beachero to close out Who Ya Crappin' on the score.
Hey, buddy.
Oh, God.
I miss you, Dan.
Hey, buddy.
Listen, this crap for Mike North. When making case for greatest Laker of all time, he chose Magic Johnson. Good choice. But in his final paragraph, and I quote, he says, the final straw is when in 1979 and 1980, he started at center, played all 5 positions, and had a triple-double. So you mean you made up your mind about the greatest Laker of all time in his rookie season? Look about all the guys that played. Kareem, Elgin, Mike North,
You make us wonder with the things you say. Maybe you were having an off day.
Don't look at me, Barry.
You must have thought
Really.
we were napping.
Hey, Patty.
Who you grabbing?